snow came early to the island of Sodor, and it was a lot heavier than usual. Donald and Douglas, along with a huge snowplow, cleared the snow off the tracks. It was very hard work, but the twins didn't care one bit. One morning, they were resting in the shed when Paxton pulled up beside them.
Hello there, Paxton! What are you doing in this flask today morning?
Oh, I'm just doing my ordinary shunting duties. Nothing special at all.
Well, we are clearing the tracks from the snow, because if we didn't, none of the engines would be able to run. And it all be snowed up in the shreds.
I wish I could do something special like that.
Alright, cheer up, Paxton. I'm sure your time will come. Anyway, would you like to hear a snow joke?
A snow joke? Yeah, sure, Donald.
Well, where do a snowman keep their money?
Where does snowman keep the money? I'm not sure.
In a snow blank, of course.
Paxton laughed and laughed, but Douglas was cross.
You could have came up with a better joke than that, Donald.
For sakes, Douglas!
That joke is legendary. Legendary.
Just then Duck arrived to collect some trucks, and he looked over and saw Paxton laughing and Donald and Douglas cross. Duck didn't know Paxton and completely misunderstood the situation.
He must be making fun of Donald and Douglas,
he said crossly.
Well, I'm sure Donald and Douglas are big enough and ugly enough to look after themselves. Now come on, we have to take these trucks to the harbour,
said his driver. At Crovan's Gate, there is an ancient castle, and a man called Godred Crovan used to live in it. And many centuries ago, he saved Sodor from a Viking invasion, and he was the son of King Harold, an ancient king of Sodor. His castle had now been restored and open for visitors, and many tourists had arrived to visit it. Edward brought the visitors to Crovan's Gate, and Sir Handel was waiting to take them to the castle.
I will bring them back tonight, Edward, said Sir Handel. Old Duck will be collecting the passengers tonight. I have to collect cattle from the farm.
Then Sir Handel set off, and he brought the passengers to the castle, and they were very intrigued when they saw it and couldn't wait to get inside. That evening Duck was in the sheds and getting ready to go to collect the passengers at Crovan's Gate, and he was still thinking about Donald and Douglas.
What's the matter, Duck?
asked Oliver.
Poor Donald and Douglas! There's nothing as bad as having a diesel laughing at you. I spoke to Paxton once, and he was very friendly to me. Yes, Oliver, but Sodor has very friendly diesels like Pogo and Salty and Mavis. But all those Class 8 shunters all seem to be the same. Look at Diesel, Harry and Bert. And now Paxton.
Excuse me, Mr. Duck, but is it not possible that you misread the situation? asked Toad.
I do not think so, Toad. I seen it with my own eyes. Donald and Douglas were cross, and Paxton was laughing.
Then his driver came.
Right, Duck, we have to collect the passengers right away. They cannot miss Henry for the mainland train.
Suddenly it started to snow very heavily, and there were huge gusts of wind too. Sir Handel was waiting in the yards and he was worried.
I hope the lines don't get blocked. We can't leave the passengers stranded at the castle.
One of the yard men said that Rusty's clearing the tracks at the minute, said his driver. Then he and Sir Handel left. Sir Handel ran down the track as quickly as possible, and luckily he didn't come to any drifts of snow. Then he saw Rusty, who had just cleared his track. "Thank you, Rusty!" At last he arrived at Cruven Castle. All the visitors were waiting and ready to board. "Did you enjoy yourself?"
Oh yes, it was a fantastic. Good. Now board the coaches quickly. I have to get you to Cruven's Gate before the track's blocked.
As soon as they were all boarded, Sir Handel raced on. When they arrived at the station, Duck was waiting.
Just in time, Sir Handel,
gasped Duck.
"Are you okay?" Since I started, I have suddenly felt very short of steam."
"I hope you're okay, Duck," said a concerned Sir Handel.
"Thank you."
Then Duck left. Duck was struggling. He had no energy and felt like he was getting weaker and weaker.
"There's not enough steam!"
shouted his driver, and he had no choice but to stop the train.
"I have failed!"
sighed Duck.
"Your fire's struggling, and you can't make enough steam. You're not strong enough to pull the train, Duck,"
his driver told him. Then his driver noticed a signal box up the track.
"Go and inform the signalman of what has happened,"
he said to the fireman. So the fireman rushed up as quickly as possible.
"I feel so weak,"
Duck cried sadly. When the signalman found out, he phoned for help. Paxton was the only engine close by, and his driver told him what was happening. "I have just received a phone call. Duck is short of steam, and his passengers need to make the mainland train before it leaves. Can you help them get to the station?"
"Of course I will,"
Paxton said happily, and then he quickly left for the rescue. The passengers were worried, and so was Duck. "The signalman has phoned for help," the fireman told him.
"Will we make the train?"
asked the concerned Duck. "I hope so." Then they all heard the sound of a diesel, and Paxton backed onto him. Duck was relieved and worried at the same time.
"Paxton's gonna laugh at me too. Those passengers must make their train, Duck. And I am gonna help you get them there,"
Paxton called to him. So Duck used what little strength he had to help Paxton pull the train.
"We're doing it! We're doing it!"
panted Duck.
"Of course we are, Duck! Now don't you worry, we will have them at the station in no time!"
Finally, both engines reached the station. And to Duck's delight, Henry was still there.
"We have made it! Paxton! Thank you! No problem, Duck. Always happy to help. I want to ask you a question. Why were you laughing at Donald and Douglas this morning?" "I wasn't laughing at Donald and Douglas this morning." "Beg pardon, Paxton, but they both looked very cross, and you were laughing." Oh, Doc, you got the wrong end of the stick. Donald told me a joke this morning that I thought was funny. But Douglas thought he could have told me a better one, and they both started arguing over it. That's all. Oh! I'm sorry, Paxton. I completely misunderstood the situation. It's just that... Let me guess. Diesel. How did you know? Everyone knows about you and Diesel, Duck. But I am not Diesel. I know that now. Not all Class 8s are like Diesel, Ari, and Bet. There are nice ones too. Of course there are. Especially you, Paxton. Thank you. If it wasn't for you, the passengers would not have made the train. Thank you.
Paxton was delighted.
I have finally done something special,
he said to himself. Then all the passengers came round and thanked him, and both engines were very pleased. So, it's not long until Christmas. That time of the year again. But this year, we will all be together, said Union South Africa. Last year was our first Christmas in the UK in such a long time. But thankfully this year we'll all be together. Let's see if Spencer joins us. I don't care about Spencer. He can spend Christmas with his precious Duke and Duchess of Oxford for all I care. Spencer is one of us, snapped the Mallard. Yeah, really? You keep thinking that, Mallard. He turned us back on the Silver Jubilee. Why? Because he works for the Duke and Duchess of Oxford now? Would you have preferred him to be scrapped? Dwight D. Eisenhower didn't answer. Then the manager of the National Railway Museum came up to them.
Did I hear you talking about Christmas?
Yeah, we were talking about whether Spencer was coming or not.
Well, it's very coincidental that you are, because I've just came here to inform you that you and Dominion of Canada will not be spending it here at the National Railway Museum.
The A4s couldn't believe it. What?
But this is our first Christmas together! You can't split us up! I apologize, my lord. Really, I do, but it was all arranged months ago. Dominion of Canada and Dwight D. Eisenhower are very popular.
Hey, it's Dwight D. Eisenhower, not Dwight D. Eisenhower.
But where are we going? Oh no. Not Canada, please, manager, no! I cannot go back to Canada now! No, you're not booked to go back to Canada until next year. You're going somewhere else. Somewhere you've never been before.
Where?
Dwight D. Eisenhower, Dominion of Canada. This year, you will be spending Christmas on the island of Sodor.